this happened to you? You order a book and you're so excited to receive it. You wait and wait and wait, and finally you do receive it. You open the package with all your heart, waiting to see the book that you have been seeing digitally in your hands physically. But when the book comes out, it's just not as pretty as you thought it would be. If this happens to you, you probably got a pirated copy. I have received so many pirated copies in the past, but I had no idea how to figure out what pirated copies are and what original copies are. But after years of reading and receiving and unboxing and hauling hundreds and hundreds of books, I can now confidently say that I know how to differentiate between a pirated copy of a book and the original copy of a book. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing very nice. I'm sending a lot of hugs and positivity to all of you. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about everything pirated. You can call it the course of pirated 101. What are pirated books? The difference between pirated books and first copies. How you can figure out whether your book is a pirated copy or not. How you can avoid pirated copies. And in the end, I will share my own opinion and views about pirated books. Let's begin the video. The first question is, what are pirated books? The official definition of a pirated book is that books that have been illegally copied to be sold at much cheaper prices. When someone takes the original copy of a book and makes a photocopy of that book and then sells it at a much lower cost, they are the pirated books. However, pirated books are different from first copies. What is the difference between pirated books and first copies? First copies, not just of books but anything else, are just defected pieces that cannot be sold as originals. Pirated books or anything else pirated is illegal to be produced, but we still do have them in the market, and though it comes at a much lesser cost, it is suggested that you don't buy the pirated copies, because when you do, the authors, the publishers, nobody's hard work gets paid. None of those people get paid. Not just that, as a reader, if you truly want to experience a book, if you know why some people go for paperback version of a certain book and some people go for the hardback because they're different experiences, you must know that reading from pirated books is just not fun. The quality is just not good and the overall experience is just not that fulfilling. Now that we know what pirated copies are and that we do not want them in our lives, let's figure out how you can know whether a book is pirated or not. A few days back, I started reading the book Paper Towns by John Green, and it looks really cool. Actually, it does not look pirated at all from the outside. However, once I started reading it, I came to know that it's a pirated copy. It's really old. I was really into the story, which is why I could not stop myself, and I had to read the entire book. However, once I did save up the money, I did buy the hardcover version of Paper Towns. I could easily buy the paperback itself, but experience, right? This is going to be one of my most favorite books for all times, which is why I decided to get the hardcover version of it. This book is going to be the best example to show you what pirated books look like. Let's start with the cover. Sometimes the cover, this one is really soft, so it's not there in this, but the cover has a plasticky feel to it, whereas the original book have a matte finish. Sometimes the plastic is also coming off from the top, which it was in this book, and that is the first sign that the book is pirated. The second point is a misprint or a difference in alignment in the pages and in the cover. Some of the edge of the book will either be spilling into the front or into the back. The same goes with the text on the inside. Each page is going to have a different alignment of text inside, whereas in original books, the alignment of the text is similar on each page. In pirated books, it's up and down and side and whatnot. You can also do this and see if the text is going too up and down or side by side in a glance, then you will know that it's a pirated copy. Next comes the color, the print quality. The color of the cover itself is not that deep. It's usually either too dark, darker than you saw on the internet, or it is too light. This one, for example, is too light. And when you go inside the book, the text is usually lighter or darker on some pages. So if you see that the coloring in the ink or the coloring of the cover is not consistent, then it's probably a pirated copy. Next one, and this one actually is a big one, it's one of the most definite signs that you have a pirated copy, and that is ink splatters on the page. Useless ink here and there over the text or on the edges. This particular point actually is the worst point, because I hate ink splatters on my book, or sometimes it's like a thumbprint mostly, and you would think that it's there because, oh, you know, you put your hand over there because it almost looks like a thumbprint or something, but that's not what it is. These ink splatters are actually actually caused because they are photocopying the book and they're not able to do it properly. Next point is to see the quality of paper. Now this one is a difficult one because sometimes pirated copies do have good quality paper. For example, this one, it's not the best but it's not bad too. But sometimes pirated copies have really thick paper and it's not cut properly on the edges, or it'll be really thin paper, and sometimes the book itself will be smaller than the original copy. Last but not the least, and this is the worst one because I just wish it was true but it is not, the books are sold at much cheaper costs and they're shown as discounts, and I really wish that they were real discounts. But if you do not see some sort of assurance, or you go to the reviews and see that multiple people have got copies that are not original, you come to know that it's not actually the discount that you're getting, but pirated copies are actually sold at much lower cost and it's marketed like that. Now that we know how to figure out a pirated copy, let's talk about how you can avoid them. Number one, buy books from bookstores. I will tell you something, it is not easy to buy books from bookstores, and I totally understand that because buying books at full prices can be difficult. It is very difficult for me too to buy all of the books at full prices. However, try your best to save up money and get a few books, especially the books that you really want the original copy of, from bookstores itself. The second point is actually a little funny, also a little sad, but whatever, is that you do go to a bookstore and you see what the original copy looks like, and then you will know what the original copy looks like. So even though you order it from the internet, when you get it, you will know it is a pirated copy. Number three, when it comes to buying books from bookstores, if you cannot get the original copy from bookstores, then buy second-hand copies. Trust me, second-hand copies have this whole other feel. The yellow pages, the frayed edges, sometimes it's also underlined and highlighted inside, which means you know what the previous reader was trying to do, and that experience is so much better than having pirated copies. Number four, when you are buying books online from Amazon or from Flipkart, on Flipkart make sure you have the assured sign, the F assured sign, or on Amazon you have the Amazon's choice sign. But better than that, because that too sometimes is pirated, do two things. One, see the seller. Truecom Retail on Flipkart and Coco Blue on Amazon are the best sellers ever. I have never received any pirated copies or any damaged copies from them ever. These are the two that I recommend, but you can definitely figure out other sellers that do the same because there are reviews for the sellers too. The second thing is reading reviews. Read reviews of the sellers or read reviews of the product itself. Scroll down and read the reviews. If majority of the reviews is that the copy was pirated or whatever it is, then don't buy the book. The second last point is listen to audiobooks. Again, audiobooks is a much better experience than reading from pirated copies, and I want to make a video why audiobooks is like literally the best thing in the world. Some books are narrated so well, some books are narrated by the authors or the celebrities who have written it themselves, and some books have music in the background. There are different narrators for different characters. Last but not the least, get a library card. I desperately wish there was a library around me. I thought I do have a library near me and I went over there, but it turns out that it was not a library, it was just a reading library, which means you can go over there and read, but it's not a library. If you have a library around you, you're one of the luckiest people ever. I am waiting for that experience in my life. I know that when I travel, I'm going to do this, like take a library, get the subscription or the membership and read books. You can read so much more if you have a library subscription than buying a book every single time you want to read. Library is literally the best thing in the world, and it's so much better than getting pirated copies. Let's talk about what I think about pirated copies, and what I will say first of all is a big no. I know for a fact that some of the books that I have in my shelf were pirated and still are pirated, and I'm slowly getting rid of them. This one, for example, was buried somewhere in my house. It was not even in my shelf, but then I found it and I really wanted to read it. So I started reading it, but then I came to know it's a pirated copy, and now I bought the hardcover version because I don't want pirated copies in my shelf, and I don't want to be a part of that situation where I'm paying for a book but the people that worked so hard on it are not getting the money. I do try my best to go to bookstores and buy books from there. I have a certain budget in a couple of months which I know that, oh, this I'm gonna spend in a bookstore. But even when I don't have the money to buy books from the bookstore, I make sure I follow all of the points that I just said, and if I do receive a pirated copy, and this is where the bonus tip comes into play, I make sure I'm opening the packages before the replacement or return date. And this is so important because in the past when I used to do huge unboxings of Flipkart or something, I would have to wait for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks to make sure all the books have arrived, and then I would do an unboxing. But now I either choose books that can come on like the similar delivery date and then do unboxings for you, or I do book hauls because I want to make sure I am opening the books and figuring out whether they're pirated or not, and if they are, then return it as soon as possible. And that is it. You have the complete guide of what pirated books are, how to avoid them, what I think about them, what you should do, and I really hope that this video was helpful. I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye.